Okay, that didn't come out.
Anyway, we're here at the Margaret Logan studio, and we just thank you for your patience with us. We thank you if you're tuning in to Reach to Teach One. This is for everybody that wants to learn a lesson in saxophone playing. We thank you for your help and your support, and we thank you also for your financial support. Now it looks like we're about ready to run out of this battery, so we're going to go ahead and get down to playing a little bit of this song. Let me just say this, I'm going to stop right now. For the benefit of the students, this starts off with you taking care of your reed, okay, first of all. This is the most important part, this little piece of wood. Of course, the correct mouthpiece, you want to play around with mouthpieces, you start off with a stock until you can afford one that's a little bit more expensive if you don't like the stock. There are also people that work on these mouthpieces. They drill them out, they do different things to them. I had one by Pharaoh Saunders that had been probably overdone, but in any event, we're going to move forward. This is called a ligature. It goes around the mouthpiece like this until you put the mouthpiece on the reed until it gets approximately a little bit below. I like to have mine with a little bit of the black showing. Can y'all see that? And from there, of course, you tighten your ligature, and guess what? Put your mouthpiece on to the neck, push it on until you have achieved the point that you have A440. The only way you're going to know that is to tune up with a guitar player or piano player to make sure you're in tune. Okay, this is P Squared Informatics, Reach to Teach One. We're here to teach you. Now, the same thing is true, believe it or not, for a smaller horn. This is the next to the smallest horn called a soprano. You've got a superino. This is next to the largest horn, which is called a baritone sax. And you also have a bass sax, which has to sit on the stand for you to be able to play it. We're going to also talk about one note playing. One note, just hit a note that comes to mind. And that's not exactly in tune. That was a G concert. By the way, that's a tune by Kenny Durham called Blue Bassa. Kenny Durham was from around Fort Worth, from what I understand. He started off on tenor sax. Whatever you do, get the blues that he wrote with Train called Shifting Down and listen to it. Transcribe it. That's a very important part of your playing. For you to be able to not be musically illiterate, you've got to learn how to write it to be able to play. You got to learn how to read it. Don't worry about all those people calling out all those changes, the 4 and the 5. Half of them can't read one step to the other. They don't know anything about gospel. They don't know anything about jazz. But they want to give you an impression that they do. Transcribe the solos of the masters. That's how I learned how to play the blues. transcribing a solo by Dizzy Gillespie. There are a couple of scales that go into this that you must have. Let me give you one. This is called the whole tone scale. I just played it in the previous song. It goes like this. You ain't really half step away from everything. So you can play a combination of whole tone scale and you're not gonna be in key per se, but you're still gonna be able to play with the tune. No, even if you don't know it. Listen to this. Listen, all you're trying to do is make sure that you play close to the melody. Learn the melody. And quit playing around with while the singers are trying to learn their soprano parts. They can't sing, no way! And here you are getting up there interfering with their parts. Listen, I mean really. Anyway, I'm not gonna dwell on that. Next we're gonna show you a little bit about the flute. Again, saxophone really boils down to mouthpiece, ligature, reed. Sonny Stitt gave me lessons and told me, don't ever put your reed just in the water. Put it in your mouth. Let the saliva digest the harder reeds like the number 3s down. Sonny Stitt gave us lessons, myself and Kirk Will, I'm asking. Anyway, again, the next most important part is your gooseneck. Make sure your gooseneck does not have a space between the what? The part that is playing and the part that is attached to the gooseneck. Sometimes you see people with rubber bands on their horn. That's to make sure they have a tight knit until they get to the saxophone man to go ahead and repair it. Of course, the regular horn, this particular horn has what? A saliva exit so that you don't sound. You'll be blowing some notes you don't want to blow. So then it goes through the horn, of course. These particular keys, of course, help it. This happens to have been a horn that I bought from a very great saxophone player by the name of Harold Austin. I had it for sale, was about ready to pawn it. Something told me not to. I was on my last money, but I'm sure glad I didn't because we have it here to talk about it today. Anyway, it is for sale though if you need it. This is my last baritone, but guess what? We are able to keep things moving because of the horns that we've had. Now we're going to give you a lesson on the flute. The flute, in my opinion, is supposed to be a woodwind instrument, right? And at one time, of course, you know, they were made out of wood. That's where you get your wood and your wind, okay? But I'm going to tell you right now, this will help your saxophone playing. I'm going to go ahead and get to this point before we run out of battery, because this particular flute is actually a brass instrument. Put it on a table. When you come in, you're going to blow it. When you leave, what are you going to do? You're going to pick it up and blow it. Mr. Lester Boyd Sr. gave me the best lesson I ever had when he said this. He said, just pick your instrument up. That's all you have to do. Pick it up. If you pick it up, guess what you're going to do next? You're going to try to blow it. And what you have to do with flute is blow across the hole. You hear that? You're blowing across the hole. You're not blowing into the hole, because I get that. You're blowing across the hole. So that's why it's really a brass instrument. You need to take this part of your lip, the frenulum, that little piece right here, and blow across the hole. Not blow into the hole. So you're going to do this. This is an open system. I'm not recommending you start on this. I happened to get this from a friend of mine that basically has a pawn shop. Fair exchange is no robbery is what my mama said. But you can get these holes filled up, and I suggest you start like that. Later on, you can play like Hubert Laws plays an open system, and quite well. I suggest you study with him, as well as John Paul Rompel and some others that have basically had Irish. I think Galway is another very great flautist that you need to listen to. They're all on YouTube, y'all. Look, that's going to conclude this. We're going to shut this thing down because it's about ready to end. And guess what? We love you. P squared informatics. Ain't nothing
you can do about it.
You can do about it. We're going to conclude that. Thank you so much.
This one?